What's up everyone, OJ here. Welcome back to another Fire Emblem Three Houses video, and after putting in quite a number of time, 20 hours plus into Fire Emblem Three Houses, I think I am ready to say that this is probably, no, for sure, it is my favorite Fire Emblem game of all time, and I'm going to give you guys a number of reasons why. So let's first start with the presentation in the game. This goes over everything from the menus, UI, graphics, music, sound effects. Everything in Fire Emblem Three Houses is done so well compared to where it was before. Now obviously we are jumping from the Nintendo 3DS, which is a system that has the power around a GameCube, probably a bit less, somewhere in between there, definitely a bit less than that. So we're jumping from that all the way to the Nintendo Switch. So it's a generation's jump in power, but that has been to the franchise's benefit because the presentation in this game is better than any other game in the franchise that we've ever gotten. The menus are slick and quick to navigate, easy to get through. The UI, user interface, is easy as well. Everything just kind of gels and flows. It looks great, and they put together a visually pleasing presentation when it comes to the menus and the user interface, and it's very easy to use and to navigate once you get a hold of things. The music in this game, I can pretty much make a 10 to 20 minute video just talking about all of the sweet tracks that they have composed for this one. This, for me, is definitely up there when it comes to Fire Emblem games. Now, I haven't heard every single track in the game because I haven't beat it as of the time that I'm recording this video, but I'm pretty sure that I'll have this game beat probably within the next week or so. Definitely probably sooner than that because I'm playing quite a bit now whenever I get some free time, and the game is just absolutely phenomenal. It just pumps your ears full of sweet music that you just keep on humming and keep on thinking about well after you're done playing the game. That's how good and that's how vibrant the music is. It fits every single tone, it flows, it's just a perfect symphony of just everything that you want to hear in a Fire Emblem game. And then they say, let's go a little bit above that. The sound effects when you hit somebody with a sword, when you're basically picking a menu icon, when you're moving on the map, when you zoom in, everything just kind of flows with the music, with the menus, with the UI, and with the presentations. You just make it so good to just look at and to play. It just feels that great with the presentation. Now, with the graphics, that's the one thing that I would say maybe isn't as good as it could have been, but I feel that they can get better in the future. And there's just some areas that look a little bit bland, some of the ground textures, some of the areas in the monastery, looking at some of like the fruits or some of the stands and stuff like that, not the best quality textures, but at the same time still a very, very big jump up from Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, a massive jump, so I can't be too mad at their first effort. And the character models themselves are absolutely phenomenal. So the presentation in this game is absolutely exquisite, but what about the story? Because I think stories in games are obviously important, especially in a Fire Emblem game, and this game has the story that just keeps me guessing. It gets more and more intriguing every time that I play through. I'm more intrigued with this story than I was with Fates, and it's right up there for me with Fire Emblem Awakening in terms of intriguing aspects of it. Every time that I play and I get through one of the story missions, I want to keep going. Somebody says something very interesting, there's something that happens, there's a new element that's added, there's new twists and turns and wrinkles from every single different spot. You learn more and more about the characters and what they want to do and their ambitions within the story, their personalities. It's been crafted in a way that I don't think other Fire Emblem games have ever been crafted because of the dynamic of the three different houses and what you're going through with each one and what each person is going through in each house. It really is a very unique story aspect that I have not experienced before in really any other game out there. But the depth and your decisions and the supports and what you do, but I also feel having a fully voiced story really helps to make the story just kind of pop out, or makes the story just kind of be broadened a bit more when you're talking about all of the aspects of combining what Fire Emblem Three Houses story is. Now, of course, this is a no spoiler review slash impression, so I'm not going to go in depth into things, but I just feel that this story is just so dynamic and it's so different from what I've previously experienced with Fire Emblem games in different types of ways. It has a similar feel, but there's just something about it that just makes it, to me, want to keep on going more than what I did with Fates, more than Shadows of Valentia, and more than any other Fire Emblem game. And it's about equal with Awakening, and Awakening was my favorite Fire Emblem game of all time. But moving on, what about the gameplay? Because the gameplay is the most important thing to me in any type of game, and especially in a Fire Emblem game. You have to have solid gameplay, and this is where Fire Emblem Three Houses absolutely shines. The gameplay, the mechanics, what they've done to make this game and craft it the way it is, to make it feel familiar for Fire Emblem fans, but also be able to get in new fans, but then also kind of innovate on top of what they've already done, is just amazing. It really is that awesome, because I love what they did with the battalions, being able to kind of have your own formation on the battlefield, and within that formation on the battlefield you can hire different ones, and those battalions have different abilities, and you can level up those battalions, and then you can also pass them off with other people with authority, but then they can also have certain elements that make them better in terms of tuning it to what unit you want to have. Like, let's say a magic battalion that really does well with magic and enhances the user's abilities there, or having a battalion of Pegasus Knights kind of fly in, or archers. All of that dynamic on top of the normal Fire Emblem system creates this atmosphere of a large-scale battle actually going on, not just 7 or 10 units or however much you have on your team versus the other 15 or 20 units, but an actual large-scale battle with multiple people involved. I love the system that they crafted around battalions, and how they crafted that around support, line attacking, and also gambits as well, being able to draw in more power as you're next to people in your area. That is just an awesome type of thing to me that creates more depth, especially if you're playing on the harder difficulties and you want to have some nice strategy to staying together in a battlefield. So it just feels perfect with what they added with the battalions and the class system. This is also something that has been a point of frustration, I think, for myself and many other Fire Emblem fans. It's kind of how they handle the class system. When do you actually level up? How you have to go all the way back to level 1 when you level up with a class. But this time the classes are handled in a far more practical manner. You have to get certain skills, you have to be able to wield those skills, and then when you're ready you take your exam based on if you have those skills and you have a seal. That's when you can take the exam, if it's 100% or if it's 60% or whatever the case is, if you're going to pass. And then from there you can change, but your level doesn't go all the way back down to 1, I should say. It basically just stays the same, and then you can learn those abilities and mix and match. But then you can also change back to the class if you made a mistake, or if you feel that you still want to be a different class. You can swap between any class at any point within the menu as well. That is a huge upgrade to the Fire Emblem system, which just makes it far better to play the game, far more enjoyable in my opinion when you have those options with the different classes. The class system is a massive game changer, and to me that's what basically puts it over the edge when it comes to Fire Emblem Awakening versus Fire Emblem Three Houses, is that class system and how it directly ties into the gameplay and enjoying the combat more, because you have that freedom and control that you didn't have before, and it doesn't feel like you're starting over somewhat when it comes down to it. I also feel that having the monastery where you can do side quests and talk to people and have the full controllable camera, and how your day progresses on a calendar, then you have your big missions, puts together a flow in a Fire Emblem game that kind of surpasses all other Fire Emblem games. There's no other Fire Emblem game in the history of the franchise that can really kind of compete with the flow and the pace of how the game goes. Now, it might not be for everyone, but for me, where I like like traditional RPGs where it has that normal overworld and the side quests and talking to people, having that implemented into Fire Emblem Three Houses really just kind of puts it a step above any other Fire Emblem game that kind of encompasses everything that I've talked about, from story to gameplay to presentation. It just puts it on another level that we haven't seen previous Fire Emblem games before. But the abilities as well, the skills, the crest, the magic, how all of that kind of ties in, and how it looks with the presentation and the story just kind of creates this euphoria that is just higher to me than any previous Fire Emblem game. It really is that amazing in my opinion. Now, I still need to go through and beat the game fully, and maybe I'll do a full review of the game after I'm done with that. But overall, where I am and what I've been doing in the game, and kind of how I'm understanding what you're doing, like with the blacksmith and with the battalions and with the leveling and everything, I can pretty much say that this is my favorite Fire Emblem game of all time, and I'm so happy that so many people are out there playing the game and enjoying it. So what do you guys think about Fire Emblem Three Houses? How are you guys' gameplay sessions going? I know some of you guys have already even beaten the game and started New Game Plus. What do you guys think about everything so far with the game? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.